Welcome already to another edition of WCW 2005 here in TEW 2020 as we're on the road to WCW Bound for Glory later this month in November. And we're live from the Denver Coliseum in beautiful Denver, Colorado. And the show starts out with your WCW World Champion Chuck Palumbo coming into the ring to the boos of the crowd as he takes the mic and says, Well, last week I reminded everybody why I'm the top of the heat, why I'm the WCW World Champion. And Brother Ray, why you should stick to the tag teams. Because see, I had to remind you last week that I'm the man here, okay? You think you're sitting in Land of Extreme or beating a few people, winning a cage match, all that meant you were ready to step up to the big boys? No. You see, this is my world, Brother Ray, and you're just living in it. And let me be clear, I have respect for you. You're a great tag team wrestler, one of the best ever, but that's the key. That's the key here, Brother Ray. Tag team. So find a partner, and I'm sure you can win tag titles again for the 800th time. But this is my property. It doesn't matter whether you're getting my way or Paul London is getting my way at Bound for Glory. I'll be walking out with the title and walking into Starrcade with the belt against whoever has the called shot. And then actually Raven Reigns steps up and says, my man here is a different breed. He's not a washed up relic clinging to the past. Brother Ray, your time has passed. The table that you got sent through, that was just a start. Then you cue Brother Ray up on the Bischoff-tron, I don't know, the FuseNet-tron, as, he's basically, he's obviously in the parking lot, and, Brother Ray says, I got my past, you want to talk about street fights, you want to talk about battles in bloody rings that barely stood together, you want to talk about bar brawls, you want to talk about fighting in barbed wire, in cages, through tables, climbing up ladders, getting able to chairs. Hell, I've been through more wounded lumberjack, all for a shot at glory. See, Palumbo, you've never really fought in this business. You walked into the power plant, you walked onto Nitro, and that's where you've been the whole time. You never had to bleed in front of 100 people and not even get a paycheck, get any money at the end of the night. You've never had to be worried that your house was going to be repossessed. You never had to worry that if the lights were going to be on when you got back home after a weekend of wrestling in bloody, dirty rings. This is my chance at greatness. And hey, yeah, you got me. You attacked me, you sent me through a table. But one good lick deserves another, doesn't it? And then we sort of see that we're in the parking lot, and hey, it's Chuck Palumbo's motorcycle. And oh look, Brother Ray has a crowbar. Oh, and Brother Ray is demolishing that motorcycle, just nailing, obviously, hopefully we just found a cheap motorcycle to hit, but just destroying it, getting the fuel tank, destroying the wheels, hitting the handlebars, all that fun stuff as the crowd cheers, and then Brother Ray, turns to the camera again and says, Palumbo, you're damn right. I've won lots of tag team titles, but I found for glory, I'm going to become WC World Champion. And, then Palumbo says, Ray, you just made the biggest mistake of your life. You wanted an extreme, you wanted a war, fine, you got one. But Bound for Glory, remember, you asked for this. So there we go, continuing the big feud here as we continue the road to Bound for Glory. As, big angle here, this gets a 99, and it's great because, these guys are good at this stuff. And then we have hype for the main event, of course, set up from the big last week's angle, as Kanyon teams up with Sean O'Haire to take on Jeff Jarrett and Mike Awesome. 73 just gets the graphic, and then we have our first match of the evening. My bad. So we cut to Toland and Leppan backstage in Bischoff's office, and they're basically, they're on their own now. They're ready to fight, they're ready to battle, and be put at the top of the card like where they belong as the hottest international star in the company today and the sexiest man in WCW. And Bischoff says, so what you're saying is you want to fight true talent. You want to fight champions. You want to fight the best of the best. And Leppan says this, yes, that's what we want. Don Marie's not here anymore. It's just us. I'm going to prove our worth at the top of the tag team business. Fine. And Bischoff basically sort of chuckles and says, fine. Next week, right here on Nitro, you're going to get a chance to face off against former tag team champions, Macias and Morningstar. Obviously, they freak out, and Bischoff sort of smirks and sends them away. So there we go, fun little match. just to see what happens there. As this gets to 74, doing that feud and bring in Mrs. Morningstar, actually do some feuding with people who aren't weirdo, spooky people like they've been dealing with for the past 6 months. So that gets 74, fun stuff, and now it's time for opening match. Oof, okay. Not quite their investment, pre-show stuff. Oh, Romeo and Cookie are an awkward pairing. That sucks. Well, oh well. She doesn't have to go to the ringside. She can just be backstage presence. Anyway, triple threat match. It's a banger. It's a high spots match. We have Hidaka doing his kicks. We've got Skipper flying around, doing his little rope walk into a Frankenstein on Romeo. We got Romeo flying around hitting his moves, his big moves. And eventually, big spear, big kick by Hidaka, gets a near fall on Skipper. Romeo comes in. Romeo Hidaka fight. Romeo eventually hits a last kiss. 1, 2, 3. And he picks up the pinfall here on Nitro. And, basically wins the number one contendership. This gets a 49. Hidaka gets a 62. Romeo gets a 56. Skipper gets a 58. And post-match, as, him and, Cookie are celebrating, he takes the mic and says, that's right, baby. Gym, tan, wrestling is where it's at. And he has a little flex. When you're good as me, you don't need luck. And that's why I don't know why I put it in Tony. Yeah, whatever. That's why at Bound for Glory, I'm going to take that Cruiserweight title off of Reckless Youth now that I have the backup of my Cookie. And, Cookie said, don't forget, we're not about GW, we're about GTD, Gym Tan Dominate. Ain't that right? And then, Reckless Youth music comes in out up the top ramp. It is Reckless Roberts and his sister, Tracy Roberts. Reckless, takes mic and says, congrats. Fine. You want to, you've earned the title shot now, but that's going to be your downfall. Because if you think you're going to take this title off of me, you've got another thing coming, Romeo. Doesn't matter if you've got your backup in your little Jersey trash girlfriend now. I've got my sister on my side, and she's led me to glory, and she's led me to championships, and it's not going to stop. Romeo fires back. Eventually, Tracy makes fun of Cookie. Cookie fires back with some joke about, being your brother's keeper. And eventually what's agreed to is a mixed tag match next week here on Nitro of Romeo Rossi and Cookie versus Reckless Roberts and Tracy Roberts. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Fun little mixed tag match to build up the Cruiserweight match at the pay-per-view. And I think I already pre-booked this, but I just want to make sure it has not been officially pre-booked. Okay, so I'll add that in. So yeah. Obviously a real, buy-bringer. And this gets to 45, but, we're just continuing to build this stuff up. Gotta get people in the ring doing work in order for them to get better. Then we cut backstage, which gets a 99. And, ooh, that's interesting. So, Kanyon and O'Haire backstage. Kanyon talks about, awesome. You came in here in WCW a long time ago, fresh from the Millennium Extreme, just as I was rising up. And maybe you didn't have the best of luck, but you found your backup, and I found mine. But now we're both on our own. And if you want to attack me to make your main yourself, fine. But at Bound for Glory, I'm going to remind you tonight and there that nobody's better than Kanyon. And sooner or later, I'm going to be WCW World Champion once again. Then O'Haire steps in and says, Jeff Jarrett, tonight, you have reminded of the future shock. You and me have tangled before. When you get that ring, it doesn't matter whether you're bringing out the chosen few or a whole damn cavalry. I'm Sean O'Haire, and I'm bigger and badder than you, and I want to kick your teeth in. And, just a little segment here between the two baby faces, putting over the main event later tonight, which gets us a 99. Good stuff. And then we have a TV title match, which actually is better than I expected. Fun little match here, as Ken Anderson basically, Jerry Lynn gets his spots in because he's, the old grizzled veteran, former, they put him over as a former champion in all sorts of companies. But eventually, Ken Anderson gets the pin with the Green Bay Plunge after a little over 6 minutes. Straightforward match. Lynn gets a little bit of offense in, but eventually Anderson takes over, hits the rolling forward slam, hits the Green Bay Plunge, 1, 2, 3, and picks up defense number 8 of his World Television title. This gets a 65, perfectly solid match, as Anderson gets a 74, Jerry Lynn gets a 46. And, as, Anderson is celebrating, out comes Mark Jindrak and Simply Johnny Devine. You know, Anderson is basically a little confused as he's like, what do you want? And, basically Divine does his little cocky perk act and says, what we want is you to face some real competition. You see, this man, magnificent Mark Jindrak, he has the muscles, he has the brains, he has the talent, but you refuse to get in the ring with him. You refuse to face a true challenge. And Anderson basically says, ducking you? You know who I am? I'm the guy who's more than happy to meet either of you, both of you, here, in the back, in the parking lot, in a random Denny's. I don't care. You're the man who's never backed down fight in your life, even want to make someone an asshole. And, Jindrak says, fine, you want to face on match as Mark Jindrak and lose that TV title? Then name the place. And Anderson says, it doesn't matter the place. Go talk to Bischoff, make the match. I'll be happy to remind you why I am the television champion and why I'm Ken Anderson. So they face off, and basically, just a little quick promo here to set up the, feud as possibly a future match, maybe at the pay-per-view, as this gets an 80. Fun stuff. And then, we have Dirty Borash backstage with the Truth, as he basically, cuts a rap promo on the match later tonight with Alex Wright. Talking about betraying friends, selling them out, crossing the line, talking about turning on Tajiri and Chavo, and, saying he's the Truth, and that he's going to walk out still the U.S. champion. Because he's the Truth, and Alex Wright, you're going to have to learn all about it. 79, perfectly good promo, building up the U.S. title match, which sort of been put together, but it's setting up something, I swear. And then we move forward with our next match of the evening. Oh, no, actually, it's oof. Okay, yeah, I should not have rated. Okay, so here's what you do. You don't rate. I mean, I kind of expected this. I guess, I was confused by Evans and Teddy doing better than I thought last time. But yeah, okay, I mean, this makes sense. So basically, Eddy Guerrero comes down to the ring to the boos of the crowd, and he says, Hart, Teddy, Evans, you're not even a Hart, essay. Whatever, come out here and face your medicine. Because I'm tired of having you two punks talking about me when you're not ready to take me on in this ring. The Hart Legacy, of course, happy to take this on the ring because they're baby faces. And, Evans and Hart basically says, they're ready to face off Eddy in a match whenever he wants. And, they should respect Eddy, watch him on TV. And he says, I'm tired of hearing about that. I'm hearing the punks saying they're somehow sad that I'm doing what I'm doing best for me and for the Guerrero family. I need to get back to the top of this business one way or the other. And if you two want to get in my way, I'll roll through you just like I've rolled through everybody else in this business. So get out of my way and accept your place or else. And, Teddy and Jack was like, you're 2-1 like Eddy. You're good, but you're not 2-1 beating us in a match. And eventually just a little bit more of an argument. And eventually, I say, fine, Holmes. You want me to find a partner? I can find anybody. And I'll be able to beat you. Yeah, you're tag team champions, but I'm Eddy bleeping Guerrero. Only there's a bleep there, not a bleep, if you know what I'm saying. And Guerrero family values means I can kick your ass on my own. But if I have to face a tag partner, fine. And so, I guess we got a match for Bound for Glory. Eddy Guerrero and a partner versus the Hart Legacy. 74, fun stuff. A little disjointed, I guess, because Teddy and Jack aren't great at the promo game, and Eddy probably wanted to do stuff, off script, but it is what it is. And then we have a sort of big match here, as, basically, Evolution were the unofficial number one contenders after the triple threat tag match at Halloween Havoc, but then AEW already had a title shot from when they signed a contract with the Hardys. Hardys lost the titles to Nikita, but then AEW beat Nikita for the titles, and the Hardys won another shot at AEW, and, now there's this friendly match between Evolution and the Hardys, and it's a fun little match. It's sort of the match you'd expect. Basically, when it's Claudio in there with Matt or Jeff, it's a very sort of high-impact indie-style match. Hardy and Matt flying around, hitting their double teams, Claudio hitting some big power moves, hitting some chain wrestling, and when Blaster gets tagged in, he just wreck fools. Slammed, suplexes, big press slam on, Jeff Hardy taking a dumb bump because he's Jeff Hardy. Big brawl, big battle, but, no cheating, no interference. And eventually what happens is, Blaster Lashley goes for a big spear on Claudio. Claudio gets out of the way. He hits a sort of modified gut wrench suplex out of the ring on Blaster Lashley tries to spear Jeff. Jeff gets out of the way. He nails Claudio. Claudio goes, to help up Blaster Lashley. Matt Hardy pulls Jeff, Blaster Lashley rolls out of the ring. Matt Hardy gets tagged in. Twist of fate on Claudio. Jeff gets tagged back in. Jeff goes up top. Boom. Swanton bomb. 1, 2, 3. The Hardy Boys get the victory over Evolution here on Nitro in a very solid match, which gets a 72. Let's see here. Jeff gets a 99. Matt gets an 85. Blaster Lashley gets a 38. Claudio gets a 64. Fun stuff. But then the interesting stuff is the post-match stuff. As, Hardys are celebrating. Evolution rolls out. Nothing really there. And then AEW, show up basically at the top of the tournament with their tag titles as they look to face off against your friends and mine, the Hardys. But then NKO are here. No, they're contracted with Revolution after losing tag belts. But they attack AEW from behind. And before the Hardys can make this run up and make the save, they're out of there. Hardys stop to help AEW up as it looks like this feud is continuing with Nikita involved. And this gets a 69 nice. Just a short little 2-minute segment to build things up for the future here on Nitro. And then we have a, backstage segment where you have Jeff Jarrett along with the rest of the chosen few with Mike Awesome. As, Jeff Jarrett is talking with Divine and Jindrak. And he says, no, what you need to do was just take him out right there. Look, he's just one man. He's TV champion, but next time just kick his ass and walk away with that TV belt. I've seen it a million times down in Memphis. You take the belt from a guy and he makes dumb decisions. And Jindrak, Divine, and Wrestling, when Mike Awesome comes in and says, Jarrett, you ready? Jeff's like, awesome, I was born. What I'm worried about is, are you ready? Look, I don't want to say it, but Slapnuts, since you've been away from Triumvirate because of the draft, what have you actually done? You've battled some people, but at the end, you've always been at the wrong end of the stick. And when you're dealing with the chosen one, you can't be that way. Awesome's like, if you don't think I can step up, just say it to me, because I know I can step up. I come from the land of extreme or a battled war every day. Either there or in Japan, I've been ready to go whenever, at any time. Jarrett's like, then fine, you better be ready tonight. And Awesome walks away, and then Jarrett turns to Jindrak and Divine and says, you guys ready for tonight? And they agree. It's like, there's a plan, as this gets an 85. Fun stuff. Oof. What happens? Ooh, oh, oof, oof. Oh no. Oh no, injury. This is honestly a perfectly good match. Like, they got hurt by the injury. Like, it's a back and forth US style pro match. Wright gets to do the heel shtick early, big kicks, working on, the Truth's neck, holds, arm holds, kick to the neck, quick DDT, half Nelson suplex, a big brawling, but eventually Truth fights back, hits his sort of like corkscrew elbow thing, hits his wacky split leg kick, more fighting. And eventually what happens is basically like the Wright thinks he has the match won. Like, he goes for the sort of like double arm DDT, but Truth blocks it, hits a Northern Light suplex for a near fall. Wright is surprised, yells at the ref. Truth hits him from behind, and then, basically nails him with a modified hot shot, hits through the consequences, and picks up the pinfall victory. 1, 2, 3. So they get 72. Truth got some bone chips, which is not great. Wright got an 80. Truth got a 75. And then, sort of after the match, well, actually, let me see if it'll let me do it. Oof. Okay. All right. So nothing that serious that negates a redo. So basically, after the match, Truth, probably selling a bit for real, gets attacked by Wright. He hits him with the DDT on the chair, the double arm, single arm DDT on the chair. And then he goes for the concerto, but Jeff Guerrero makes his return after being gone for weeks, and he makes a big save and runs off Alex Wright as they face down, and he helps Truth up. And Truth probably tells him he's actually injured brother. And there we go. This gets an 80. And even though it's not 8 officially, I think we can sort of book this in if we already haven't. Yeah, okay. It's going to be Alex Wright versus Chavo at Bound for Glory. Solid stuff. And then we have another big segment here. Again, throw over people in long segments and you get good ratings. Pro wrestling. Anyway, so, we come back from commercial. Goldberg hits to a big pop as, to put over, Goldberg has been seen since he lost to Chuck Palumbo at Halloween Havoc. Palumbo takes the mic and says, I've been in this business a bit, and not everything always goes my way. I'm not going to lie and say losing Chuck Palumbo didn't hurt me. That's a low. But you got to fight, and you got to get back up. And I'm ready to get back up and remind everybody why I'm the man. You see, Starrcade's a big night for me. Whether it's matches versus Kevin Nash, Monty Brown, Scott Steiner, or Macias, I've always been ready to go for war at the biggest show of the year. Big matches, big moments, and for me, another chance to prove why I'm the man in this company. And then, as Goldberg is, continuing, Shane Helms' music comes out, and Helms, comes down to the ring to the boos of the crowd, on his own, and you basically makes says, Bill. Talk about Starrcade like it's your yard. But here's reality. This isn't, you aren't the shining star, the Alpha and the Omega, the moon and the sun of WCW anymore. We've got lots of stars now, like me, the greatest US champion of all time, the leader of the Helms legacy, and a former world champion. And the biggest thing, unlike you, I actually still matter. I'm still somebody who has an upside in this business. I'm not the long down slope of his career. So just get out of the way and let the people with actual talent have a spot at the granddaddy of them all. Goldberg fires back. Look, Helms, world champion. Can't say anything about that. And even though I would have taken that belt off you at KHT a long time ago, if, what happened would have happened. But that's bygones be bygones. But let's look at the reality here. Yeah, I lost to Halloween Havoc, but I was in the main event for the world title. You and your bodyguard's team seems to be not going that great. You're not even the man in the tag division. Ooh. Tag team sidekicks, Helms fires back. It's funny you should mention that because, well, this was a distraction. And then Tez Comco, who has slid in the ring, comes from behind and drills Goldberg from behind with a chair. And then as Goldberg is selling, he nails him with a big boot, and then the beatdown is on. And Helms, as Goldberg Helms takes the mic, says, remember this, I've been in charge of any operation I've been a part of. I was leader of the Helms legacy. I was the greatest US champion of all time. And now I'm going to take Bill Goldberg out of this business with the help of my trusted associate, Titus Tomko. And the beatdown continues until WCW officials come down and break it apart. And it looks like we have a new feud here. So this gets a 99. Good stuff. And then we get another Maverick Chance video, doing X-Game stuff, skateboarding, skydiving, base jumping. He's cool in a 2005 way. He's Maverick Chance and he's coming to WCW. Yeah, this gets a 31. It's a hype video. What can you do? And then we get our Revolution recap, focusing on, of course, the NW winning the Tag Team Champions of the World, which gets to 70, and it's time for our main event. Okay, good stuff. Let's see here. 96, 77, 88. Yeah, okay. So, back and forth match. Basically everybody gets their spots. And, Awesome gets his power spots in, beating up, Kanyon, even brawling with O'Haire a bit. O'Haire fires back on Awesome. O'Haire and Jarrett gets O'Haire gets his spots in, big clotheslines on everybody, power slams, goes for the Widowmaker early on Jarrett, but Awesome comes in. That allows Kanyon to come in. Kanyon hits a Kanyon cutter in the middle of the match on Jarrett, but Awesome makes a save on that. Awesome actually goes for the powerbomb on Kanyon, but then O'Haire makes a save. Back and forth, big brawling, and eventually things are breaking down. And it just looks like it's finally over, and O'Haire actually nails Jeff Jarrett with the Widowmaker. Cue the Chosen Few to come in and break things out and cause a DQ and basically beat down. But then Kanyon, eventually, turns Divine around, Kanyon cutter, turns your friend and mine, Ginger around, Kanyon cutter, and things break apart, and that's how the show ends, as this gets an 86, Awesome gets an 86, Jarrett gets an 88, O'Haire gets a 77, Kanyon gets a 96. Fun stuff, and overall, the show gets us 90. Okay. So yeah, again, have really good angles, and you can have sort of weak matches. Honestly, And yeah, is she anything? Not really. Okay. Or he rather. But yeah, fun stuff. Not our, best Nitro, but we're building things up. Still got another week until Bound for Glory. So we'll have the, go home show next week. For at least the Nitro side. Of course, obviously, Revolution will be coming up here in a second. Yeah, fun stuff. All right, yeah, O'Haire, catchphrase, Nigrocasis. Oh, okay, yeah, before I even look, medical. Okay, oof, 2 months, 1 week is, okay, that's a bit, but I actually have a plan for the truth, so that's fine. He's, like, out as US, like, yeah, there's actually something I can work with that. Yeah. April Hunter is coming back. She's Kim Managers. She's actually doing pretty good. And yeah, we're bringing Tajiri back. Probably only for a year just because, he's getting a little older and, I don't know what I'm going to do with her, but I'll figure something out. Anyway, looking at news. Ooh, we gained a user point. Okay. Yeah, Truth is injured. Nitro. Okay. So, user talents. Okay. So right now we have a 3 and 10 negotiating. 5 and 10 motivating, creativity 8 and 10, 5 and 10 leadership, 6 diplomacy, 6 and 10 silver time. Honestly, negotiating. There we go. Yeah, so looking over at Nitro, we got a 2.76, which I'm guessing is actually our max. And Raw, okay, Raw got an 89. We had Adam Jacobs defeat JC Daz, sure. We had a bunch of backstage achievements. We had Crash Holly defeat Carlito. Or Carlito. We had Rick Steiner defeat Ron Waterman. Yeah, sure. We had DDP, Sammy, and Maven defeat Crowbar and the Outcasts. Okay. When did I miss Crowbar signing for WCW? Oh, right. I totally did miss that. Well, that actually makes sense. That's actually a decent pickup for them. Then Cable Line and Punk defeat Thrasher and Grandmaster Sexy in 73, and Imperial defeat Joey Mouse, and Kurt Angle on the Edge defeated Just Sugar and Big Show in Random 99. And this got a 2.96 because, of course, it did. So, yeah, that's it for the moment, and I'll be back in just a moment with Revolution. And now it's time for WCW Revolution, live from San Jose, California, as we're on the road to Bound for Glory. As we're ready to roll here, so let's get going with the show. So that opening putting over the big tag match, which is going to be RVD and Chuck Palumbo, your world champion, taking on Paul London and Ray Jr. in the main event, gets a 68 as we move forward to our opening. And the show actually starts out with your number one contender to the Women's World Champion, Nikita Kalt, along with words. We see music coming out to a big heel pop as Kalt takes the mic and says, "You didn't have all you Americans. In just 2 weeks at Bound for Glory, you'll witness the dawning of a new era in wrestling when I once again become the Women's World Champion, as will be an era of precision, an era of technical mastery, an era of coldness led by me. Here's this guy. You think you're the greatest in the world today. But in just a little over a week, I will be standing as a new Women's World Champion, and nobody will deny I am the best in this business. I am the icy feeling that will freeze your heart and snatch away your title." And then Q, of all people, sing Cartier's music, who comes out, and she texts me and says, "Hey, Nikita, you're talking a lot about being cold and ready to win, but how about thawing out a bit and actually getting that ring and fighting somebody right here tonight?" And Nikita Kalt says, "Cartier, why would I waste my time with you? I'm ready for a title match. You want me to go down and battle the likes of you?" And Cartier says, "Nikita, come on. You and me are both former Women's World Champions. We both want to be at top of this business again. You got the opportunity Bound for Glory, but I'll get that ring and fight you right now, unless you're scared. Because I'm ready to rock and roll right now. I don't hide behind icy words and cold stares." And Kalt fires back, I don't know, some joke about French Canadians, because French, German, they've had their issues. And encourages something about, German engineering or something like that against my resilience. And Kalt says, "Fine, you want to be a stepping stone on my way to Bound for Glory, so be it. Don't say I didn't warn you." And then the match is on as they begin the fight. As this gets an 84, solid stuff to open. Kalt's pretty good. Cartier isn't bad. And here we go to the actual match. And here's the thing. This match is stiff as hell. Like, this is two women who actually have very good brawling stats, and they're just, like, firing shots at each other. Like, this is, stiff forearms, kicks, punches, big suplexes, attempts at submissions, Cartier powering out, hitting a big sort of like electric chair drop on Kalt. Cartier getting her own submission and Kalt getting out of it and sliding in her own. Cartier eventually taking advantage with some big forearm shots and a big boot, followed by a back, belly to back suplex, going for the six leve air raid crash, but Kalt turning it into a DDT, and then sort of taking advantage from there, hitting a few big, knee shots, picking up, big backbreaker, and eventually locks her in the cross arm breaker to get the victory and submission win here to open up Revolution. As this gets an 82, Kalt gets a 91, Cartier gets a 68, and post-match she keeps the hold on for a moment before standing up and making title belt motions as the announcer's, put over that Kalt is on a roll heading into Bound for Glory. And yeah, she gets a clean win here because eventually heels do need to get clean wins. Like, people who always complain about heels cheating to win are a little, are a little bit much, but eventually, gotta get a clean win over a tough competitor just to make sure they're not total losers. And then we cut to backstage as Booker and Shelton, are talking to each other, talking about, their feud with Kidman and Storm, saying, they got to stick together, and not happen what happened before. But then in comes Storm and Kidman, and they go in, they just start brawling with Booker and Shelton, and even April, Hunter, and Sharmell are about to have a cat fight when in walks Teddy Long, who basically says, hold on a minute here, playa. I've seen enough of this brawling, fighting, and battling to last me a lifetime. And we got to settle this in the ring. And, everybody's ready to fight. But Teddy's like, no, you see, we're going to have a tag match player because you'll just brawl, have a double count on, and mess things up. No, you see, we're going to have a little bit of a competition here. Booker, Kidman's pretty simple. If you get involved tonight in the matches I'm making, you're out of the forward for the called shot at Bound for Glory. But you two men, you were in the fatal four-way before Shelton Benjamin, got attacked by you, Lance Storm. But tonight, I'm shooting two matches. Lance Storm, you're going to be fighting Dean Malenko, and Shelton, you're going to be one-on-one with Jonathan Toro. And, Lance Storm's, says, I'm ready to show I'm the best technical wrestler, but what's on the line here? And Teddy Long says, I'm glad you asked. You see, the winners of the match tonight, we entered into a fatal four-way for the television title at Bound for Glory, along with Ken Anderson and Mark Jindrak. Everybody agrees, fighters back, and there's a little bit of stare down, maybe even some, snark from April Hunter or Sharmell. But it seems to have two big matches for later tonight, Lance Storm versus Dean Malenko, and Shelton Benjamin versus Jonathan Toro. This gets a 94, fun stuff. And then we sort of follow Teddy Long as he walks from his, from that locker room into his office, where we see Ninkeo, the tag champs AMW, and the Hardys all arguing. And, basically they're fighting shots together, and Teddy's like, what the hell is going on here? And, Stacy Keibler says, it is absolutely ridiculous that after having to defend our titles on short notice, after my men and Ninkeo had to defend their titles at short notice against AMW because of some contract Hardy signed, that now we're now locked out of getting our rematch that we deserve. And Jeff steps in and says, look, business is business. We beat Evolution on Nitro, and they were the number one contenders, so we deserve that title shot. And, AMW is sort of standing back. Harris is like, we're ready to fight anybody. We didn't back down last week, and we won those belts. And Storm says, hey, Nikita, this is the business. Sorry about your damn luck. We're going to walk into Bound for Glory as a champs, and we're going to walk out the same way. And then Kaz looks like they're going to step up, but Nikita sort of puts her, hands on their shoulders. And, Stacey's like, are you going to let this slide long, or are we going to have to take this all the way up to the top? Because you know the connections I have in this business, thanks to my Japanese connections. These rumors are underhanded, and you know it. Taylor sort of sits down at his desk, puts his hands and says, okay, playa, here's how it's going to be. Look. And Teddy says, playa, the Hardys did earn their normal contender shot. However, even though I had them defend the titles because it was valid, they did defend those titles on very short notice. So at Bound for Glory, we're going to settle this the right way. It'll be a triple threat tag match. We're going to want to defend those titles against Nitro and the Hardys. Cecil looks upset, but she says fine. And KO will reclaim it was unfairly taken from them once and for all. And man, just as we're always for a battle, and we've been fine triple threat tag matches before. And, Storm says something like, more people for us to beat, bring it on. And there we go. The official match set up for Bound for Glory, which I think I already set up. I have not, so let's actually do that now. So at Bound for Glory, it is going to be a triple threat tag match with your tag team champs, with Nikita, and with, of course, the Hardys for the tag team championships of the world. And this gets to 78 because, not all these guys are great mic workers, but they got to do this to build things up, right? And then we have our first match, which is Lance Storm versus Malenko. And, Dean's slowing down, but he can still... honestly, I was tempted to put this as a technical masterclass, but I know the fans would have, turned on that. So just a little short 10 minutes technical mastery. Eventually, Lance Storm takes advantage, hits a big super kick, rolls up Malenko, uses the ropes, gets the pinfall victory. A match that, maybe the internet would have been better in 2001. Storm gets a victory here, gets a 72, Lance gets 79, Malenko gets a 43, and Malenko is just sort of playing out his contract here. He's not be re-signed. I might bring him back as a road agent, but he's unfortunately is past his sell-by date. But Storm gets the victory here and celebrates to the boos of the crowd, which also gets a 72. And then oh man, this is what happens when you don't double check. So that should obviously be Paul London, not Paul Heyman. So just pretend that's Paul London. Anyway, Ray's backstage with Paul London, and he says, tonight's a big night. We got me teaming up with Paul London, number contender, against the world champion Palumbo and RVD. It's time to make a statement, especially with Bound for Glory right around the corner. SA. And London, says, you're absolutely right. It's a huge opportunity for both of us, but for me especially. Nobody's giving a shot in that triple tag match. It's all about Land of Extremes. Palumbo's putting people through tables, and there's me, the Forgotten, the underdog. I earned that shot last week in the Fatal 4-Way, and I'm going to surprise everybody at Bound for Glory. And Race, you're right. Look, I've been an underdog my entire career, up and until including when I was finally world champion. All you got to do is believe in yourself. London thanks him, but Ray says, you just have to win matches. You got to be a fighter. You got that fight in you, Paul, and we're not going to let anybody, RVD and Palumbo, get any momentum heading Bound for Glory. Heyman, I'm sure, has his plans, his schemes, his cons to try to get a victory tonight. We're just going to let that happen. And hey, Raven Rain, you want to get involved? That's fine too. Paul says, tonight, it's not about Heyman, it's not about Raven Rain, it's about showing us we're good, if not better than RVD and Palumbo. Ray fires back, right. You got to go out there, steal a show, and come Bound for Glory. Whether it's you and me or both of us, prove we belong at the top of this business. They do a fist bump, Ray just sums up Bianca 619, let's do this, and it's off to the main event later tonight. This gets a 94 because it was Heyman, which isn't really what it should be, but hey, things happen, what can you do? And then we cut backstage again, where Ali Danger, Johnny Lawler, Gail Kim, and All Out Alexander are still fighting again, all over the backstage area, going through the catering, when Teddy Long steps in and basically, breaks them apart with WC officials and says, what is about tonight, player? Anyway, tonight, you gals were fighting at house shows all over. You've been battling here. So next week, right on Revolution, what's going to be is a tag team match. Not just a tag team match, but a tag team tornado match where falls count anywhere. You four are going to settle your differences all over the building. And one of you are going to walk out. One of your teams is going to walk out as the winner. You got that? Everybody agrees, and the match is made for next week. Johnny Lawler and all that Alexander taking on Gail. Oh, it should be shit. That should have been, well, okay. I'll still do it. It's going to be a big tag team match next week on Revolution, as this gets a 67. Fun stuff. And then we have sort of a preview of the big sort of dance hall street fight for the Women's Tag Team Championship. And this is a really good match. I mean, it's helped again by there in the Southwest, but not that much. Annie just a little bit over. But it's a very fun match, as it's Annie Vidal, you're half of your tag team champions, doing fighting, doing a bit of flying around. Some offense. Lexi James fires back, suplexes, big, going for Lexi GT early, but Annie fights back. Annie eventually hits a few big moves, hits a sort of big senton for near fall, picks up Lexi James, hits a big Northern Light suplex for the near fall. They eventually, fight back and forth, but eventually Lexi hits the Lexi DDT, but puts her feet on the ropes to pick up the pinfall victory and a bit of victory over one half of the tag team champions here on Revolution. This gets a 79, Annie Vidal gets a 76, Lexi James gets a 60, and then, of course, as you expect would happen, Lizzy Dumas comes in for a 2-1 beatdown. Lexi hits another Lexi DDT. Lizzy goes for the moonsault, but Nikita Radcliffe comes in, knocks Lizzy off the top. The heels scatter. Nikki helps her partner up, and there's a stare down as the announcers put over the big match at Bound for Glory, as this gets a 66. Fun stuff. And then we go backstage where, there we go, the correct people are backstage. It's RVD, it's Palumbo, and their managers, Advocate Paul Heyman and Raven Rain, his valet. As, Palumbo is saying, I don't know who Brother Ray thinks he is, taking a crowbar to my bike like that. You don't cross that line. Brother Ray, this is just a reminder. You think you can take me apart? You think you can win that title? No, you just signed your death warrant for Bound for Glory. And, RVD's like, well, there's a show. Poland is your opponent tonight along with Ray Jr. And sort of really pressures Paul enough off. Look, Paul, you're a tough kid. You're a tough competitor. You might be something someday, but you're not that something right now. I'm Chuck Palumbo, and you're just going to be a pit stop for me on my way to greatness. And Heyman steps in and says, yes, Bound for Glory. A showcase of the industry's most exceptional talent on the road to Starrcade. And that's why my client, Rob Van Dam, will once again prove he's the #1 star in this business today when he takes on Rey Mysterio Jr. and defeats him 1, 2, 3. Mr. Wednesday Night will be Mr. Pay-Per-View. And everybody then says, don't forget, I'm the whole effing show. Ray, Paul, you might be good, but you're not RVD. And Heyman continues says, you're correct. Ray Jr., Paul London, you're fantastic competitors. But the operative word here is competitors, not champions. That's a gulf of distance. RVD is a former world champion and will be once again. Ray Jr., you got lucky, and you soon lost a title to this man. 8 points for Palumbo. And, RVD, follows up, says, you're right. Absolutely. Ray, you want to whine about not being a friend anymore? That's on you, man. It was nothing personal. But now you're a stepping stone on my path back to the world title. And Palumbo says, wait. I own this mountain right now. There's no path back for anybody. Everybody's like, whoa, come on, man. I'm just talking here. Look, let's not forget, I main evented Starrcade. I've been world champion before, and I'll trust it again. And Raven sort of tries to calm Chuck down, and Chuck's like, fine. Just don't get in my way tonight, and I won't get in your way. Everybody agrees, and, we're off. But, Heyman shares a look with RVD as they step out of the, backstage area. And this gets 100 because they're all great, fun stuff. And then we have a less good match. As we have Andy over with Keith Walker, who's on his own. And Andy says, Keith Walker asked for this time after what happened last week to Tori Wilson. And Keith says, look, I'm not comfortable with talking. That should be obvious. That's why I had Tori Wilson and Bender. She handled things. But Keaton Sharp, you got involved in my business, and that was fine. I like to fight. I want to prove myself I'm the best fighter in that ring. Or in the fighting pit. But you got involved in a way you shouldn't have had last week. So before, there's a competition proving the best. But now, it's about sending you a message. Tori's fine, but I'm doing this on my own and tear you apart. So, good little promo. Keith Walker is Keith Walker, so there you go. And we then have a quick little angle as Angel Fox is backstage doing backstage stuff when Desiree Dawkins walks up to her, and Angel is ready for a fight, and Desiree's like, no, look, I just wanted to ask you something. What has this all gotten you? Angel's confused, and Desiree's like, look, I come here, and, I team with the best, I rose up, but you walked away from Captivation, and what has it gotten you? You're not in a women's title match. They're getting a tag title match, and it seems like your little friends' social scene seem not care about that. That you beat them. They have to give them a title shot. It's just something to think about. What's all this really doing for you? Maybe you should have maybe you should just bend better. And that Angel like shoots a look at her, and Desiree says, "Hey, just saying," and she walks away. Little, stirring the pot here as this gets a 72. And then we have our second half of our matches, and this is actually a really solid match. It turns out, hey, Shelton Benjamin good at this wrestling thing. And Jonathan Porter puts his shots in, but he hasn't been used in a while. But fun little match, but eventually back and forth, Benjamin forwards his roaring elbow, Benjamin hits a suplex, and eventually hits the T-bone and the paper for the pinfall victory here on Revolution, as this gets a 1-2-3. This gets a 79 overall. Benjamin gets a 73. Porter gets a 66. Fun stuff. And then Benjamin is celebrating, but then Storm slides in, hits him with a super kick, but then to a big pop, Ken Anderson comes out and runs after Lance Storm, Thurman, rushing him away. As he stands up, with, pulls the TV title, Shelton gets up, and they have a stare down for a moment before Shelton nods and gets out of the ring. So this gets a 74, and our official match for Bound for Glory is going to be honestly, I'm kind of shocked this match never actually. I guess because the Storm was already out of the WWE. This is a very early to mid 2000s SmackDown match that I feel should have happened, but probably never did. Oh, whoops. Thank you, game. There we go. All right. And then we get a little basically hype package just focusing on Monty Brown. This is called He Hasn't Been on TV for a couple weeks, and I wanted to put him on TV, keep him over. And this is just a hype package of him being part of the Patriots, Super Bowl team, his early career pouncing people, and now being ready for being to the top of the mountain. Some soft focus family stuff to sort of put him over, but he's basically focusing. He's a badass who pounces people, and he might win the called shot at Bound for Glory. 78. And then it's off to our main event, I believe. Yeah, okay. Holy shit. Okay. Hey, it turns out you put Rey Mysterio Jr., 2005 Rey Mysterio Jr., 2005 Paul London, 2005 Rob Van Dam, and 2005 Chuck Palumbo, who's actually been pushed better, and you get an awesome. Okay, so this is basically a perfectly paced tag team style match. Ray and Paul, as you can imagine, they play great friggin' baby faces, baby face in peril. So basically this is just probably Paul London getting the shit kicked out of him for the first couple. Ray Jr., Rob Van Dam hitting his side kicks, his super kicks, rolling thunders, suplexes, clotheslines. Eventually Palumbo coming in, also tossing him around. Big backbreaker, running power slam, lariat. One getting a little bit of fight in, and maybe turning a move into a sliced bread or a sunset flip. And eventually making the hot tag to Rey Mysterio Jr. and Ray get his moment, get his big spots in. Maybe a double team dive onto Palumbo. Ray, hitting some spots on RVD, but eventually Heyman gets involved, and then it's time for Ray Jr. to do some selling. And RVD again, wails on him, and he even hits a power bomb for a near fall. Hits the Rolling Thunder. Hits the side kick, goes up top. 5-star frog splash. Ray Jr. gets out of the way. But Palumbo gets tagged in before Ray Jr. can make the tag. Palumbo, beats on him a bit. Goes for the full throttle, but Ray Jr. turns into a head scissor at the last second. Hot tag to Paul London. Things break down. Eventually, Palumbo goes for the full throttle. Ray Jr. comes in, kicks his knees out. London rolls through into Oklahoma roll. The ref goes down. 1, 2, 3. Paul London pins Chuck Palumbo on Revolution. 98. Paul London gets a 92. Rey Mysterio gets a 95. Chuck Palumbo gets an 87. RV gets a 95. Jesus Christ, these guys are good. And as Palumbo freaks out in the ring, Paul London and Ray Jr. celebrates in the show, which gets a 73. And overall, the show gets us a 95. Hell yeah. That was that main event and basically nothing else. But awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, turns out, again, like I said, Paul London, Ray Jr., RVD, good at the wrestling thing, but Palumbo's pretty damn good himself. So, loading. All right. Dave Mysterio won. Yeah, that's hilarious. Okay. I can't invent a new move. Some new tag teams, sure. Mail call. Yep, alright. So as a little update, for storylines wise, we got Who's Glory, which is sort of our main event. That's at a 97 now, Jesus Christ. Against the Darkness at a 75. Cruiser stuff is at a 50. The Man Under Pressure starts off at 89. Evolution is a Mysteries at a 58. Family Values is at a 70. Jim Tam Recklessness is at a 41. Never Friends, Now Enemies is at an 86. Top of the Heap is at an 89. Right and Travel Together Indian is at a 75. And Advocates at a 97. Captivating the Champions at a 72. European Skies at an 82. Not Quite a Triumvirate's at an 86. Revolution Rising is at an 89. Starcrossed. The tag title match is at a 68. Walking in the Past at a 65. And Who's the Head Bitch in Charge is at a 69. Yeah, that should have been ODB, not All Out Alexander from the Angle. I just messed up. So then if we go to our pre-booking, so we have AJ versus Booker T versus Monty Brown versus Billy Kidman for the Cult Shot. We got Alex Wright versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. We got AMW versus Nikita versus Hardy Boys for the tag titles. We got Kanyon versus Mike Awesome. We got Nikita Kalt versus Trisha Sky for the Women's World Championship. We got Paul London versus Brother Ray versus Palumbo in the main event. We got Robert versus Romeo for the Cruiserweight Championship. We got RVD versus Ray. We got Shelton versus Storm versus Jindrak versus Anderson for the U.S. Championship. And we got the Social Scene versus Lizzy Dumas and Lexi James for the women's tag titles. And obviously, a few more matches will likely be coming up here. So, fun stuff. And if we look to our DevFed, and by Wildside, let's see here. They had a TV show. It was oops, let me see here. Hold on. Yeah, they had a TV. Tony Jones defeated Ride Drago. Neither of these guys are really there yet. Drago's honestly a little closer. Lazarus defeated Matt Morgan. Let's see here. Suzuki, he's okay. Like, you know, he's a thing. And then we got Cassidy O'Reilly and Jimmy Rave, getting 68 and a 66 respectively. Fun stuff. Then for the weekly house show, we got Rick Michaels and Kurt Stallings. So Kurt Stallings is a region re-signed. We got Austin Creed and Matt Morgan. They're all getting there. Then we had Dagenberg and Suzuki teaming up. So Suzuki, yeah. Let's see here. Tony Jones, Cassidy, and Jimmy Rave defeated Rain Man, Todd Sexton, and John Phoenix. Some of those people we've signed, and then So then we had Wildside the Damned. We had Rick Michaels and Kurt Stallings versus Rain Man and Ryan Drago. Again, Ryan Drago is actually almost there. Like, he might be coming up to the New Year's the Cruiser division. Then we had Stone Mountain, Matt Morgan, and Austin Creed defeat Tony Jones, Dagenberg, and Suzuki. Again, sort of a mess of stuff. And yeah, that's about it of note. So yeah. Then if we go to AWQ, they had their weekly show. We had Madison Sinclair, Madison Eagles defeat Amazing Con, push Perez by DQ, which got a 50. Then we had Miss Molly defeat Cindy Rogers in a 63. Then we had Tracy Taylor, Michelle McCool, Michael Hossack defeat Carly Chambers, Ariel, and Emmy Sakura. So there you go. Then if we look at what the WWF's Dev territory is doing, they had a somewhat... No, I showed you guys this already. AWA had their weekly show. This regen character actually got another match finally. Let's see here. Anything else of note? Adam Pearce and Alex Shelley, who are shockingly both relevant in 2023, had a match. And yeah, that's really about it. Then we go to OVW. OVW, let's see here. Oh, Lucy Fur, who's Daphne, who they signed. Shaggy and Andy had another pretty good match. Rory Fox continues to get a push. Sure. Trent Baker defeated Mitch Page. Captain Shark Boy won. Danny Doring. Lizzie Borden defeat Beth Phoenix. Again, Phoenix. I mean, honestly, she's probably too over and good for developmental, but we'll see what the game does with her. And yeah, not really much of note here. So, then, if we go... Oh, right, I totally forgot to show you guys SmackDown. I'm an idiot. My bad. See, this is what you do. Anyway, so SmackDown had an opener, which could have been a 1998 Heat match as Al Snow defeated Chains. We had La Angel Escura defeating Ivory, Veronica Van, and Shaniqua to retain the Women's Championship. Good stuff. Then we had Devon Devon, Reach the Suburbs defeated Mark Henry, Valverde, and Funaki. Billy Gunn defeated Rikishi. Honestly, it's sort of a disappointing match because these guys both been pushed from the game. Kane defeated Steve Rinch by DQ. Shawn Michaels defeated Road Warrior Animal. Sure. And then Lone Regal and The Undertaker defeated Scott Steiner and Chris Benoit in a random 99, because of course it was. Let's see here. I think that's about it, yeah. So then if we go to our news, we go back to Revolution. Okay, let's see here. Anything of note? IWA Puerto Rico had a show. Anything that would be of use to you guys would be Perry Saturn defeated Joe Don Smith, whoever that is, and El Condor defeated Ernest Miller. So hey, there you go. He's doing okay. Let's see here. Small Town Independent Wrestling from Boston. Nothing really of note there. Kenny King, though, wrestled, so there's a thing. Let's see here. I thought there was something interesting. Oh, yeah. Chick Fight 13 happened. So we had CJ Lane defeat Shazza McKenzie and Heather Owens. I don't think that's Shazza McKenzie that's currently on the Indies, but it might be. We had La Rosa Negra defeat Josie. We had Susan Morton, Sarah Del Rey defeat Tammy Mass and Lorelei Lee. So, interesting stuff. We had Simply Luscious defeat Jessica James. In a 30, we had Subversion, which is Heather Savage, Lexi Fry, Mickey Knuckles defeat Mariko Yoshida, Trinity, and Jeddah. Yeah, fun stuff. And then we had Esther Marino defeat Bloody Phoenix, Alicia, and Fabi Apache. So yeah, that's sort of the women's indie scene since I signed basically all the good ones. 3BW had a big show. Yeah, Patriot defeat Jason Knight. Fight Storm had a match. So did Ernest Miller. Independent Wrestling Montreal. Mikey Whipwreck main evented. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Integrity had one of their big shows. So to go over, remember, this is the version that I basically made for Ring of Honor to exist when Ring of Honor in-game was taken over by Rob Black and Rob Feinstein. So we had John Moxley and Davey Richards defeat Augie Incognito and Shane Storm. We had Spuds McKenzie and Brian Lawler defeat Darkness Crabtree and Rorschach. We had Jolly Roger defeat Brian Gamble. We had John Phoenix and Logan Kane defeat Vito Tomaselli and Peter Goodman. We had John Walters defeat Matt Bentley. We had Stryker and Bateman defeat Doug Basham and Shannon Moore to retain the Tag Team Championships. Then we had Shannon Ballard and Johnny Spade defeat Damaja and Marcus Meltek. In A62, then we had David Young, Tony Cena, and Jerry Lynn defeat Mozart Fontaine, Shane Ballard and Flash Fontaine in 61, and the main event was Perry Saturn defeat Mark Merritt to retain the Champion of Integrity title. So unfortunately, the game sometimes can't quite book the grade, but that's actually not bad for what they're asking for. El Generico defeat Dropkick Murphy. Sure. Let's see here. Oh, right. I'll finish up with Impact because they did some interesting stuff. BCW had a big show. Mikey Whipwreck again. Mike Tyson Dub won the Canada Television title. Problem with like Mikey Whipwreck is like he's not over and he's not actually that great. He's just like the best available. Independent Wrestling show was in Lexington. Briscoe Brothers defeat the Olsen Twins. Like, these guys are all, I think, barely 18 at this time. Holy shit, Mark Bridges was getting 50s. Okay. You go, boy. And then we also had Small Time Wrestling in Birmingham. Yeah, nope, nothing of note. I mean, SmackDown, which I showed you guys. MLW had their big show. Violent J defeated Adam Windsor, Kevin Northcutt, and Ultra Boy Luke Cage in a cage match for the next level title. Okay, this is just a wacky show. So we have Violent J of Insane Clown Posse. We have Adam Winsmore, best known for being Dory Funk's wife's sort of young guy on the side, Kevin Northcutt, who was part of like TNA Security forever, and Ultra Boy Luke, who had a fun run in the Southern Indies. That would be a wacky match. AC Connor, A.D. LeBron, Jerry Lynn, and David Flair defeated Ron Harris, Julia Estrada, and Diamond by DQ. That would be actually a decent little undercard match, except for Ron Harris. Shannon Balor defeated Glacier in a ladder match, and Mark Mero defeated Luke Hawx in the main event. We're where Mark Mero is still wrestling. Let's see here. And then we had CWF. Did they do anything of note? Not really. Did the San Antonio show have anything of note? Young Bucks did, Young Bucks drew with the West Side Players. Billy Fives had a match. That's about it. ROH had a Wave of Mutilation. And so they had Ann Kowalski, who's a region of Luscious, defeat Susan Morton and Jessica Havoc. It's a thing. Mrs. Belmont defeated Daisy Hayes, retaining ROH Wonder Woman title. So I think what happened here is ROH, I think, had a women's title by accident already in the game. But anyway, Ace Starling defeated Hanson. Sure. Mike Quackenbush defeated David Montan. Dave Mysterio won the Pure title. And Joe Maximo and Amazing Red won the World Tag Team titles. Sure. And then we go to Impact. So Impact, honestly, they're not doing great. Again, sort of like, to review, sort of like the top guys who they would otherwise sign from this time period are all working for us or WWE. All the X Division guys are also with us since Smojo's over in Noah. So there's some issues. So, turning point. Fort Lauderdale Stadium. Still 6,000 people. So we had Christopher Nowinski defeat Alexander Atkinson, who's a regen. Solid stuff. Decent match. We had a Terry Reynolds promo. We had a Perry Pringles promo. We had a Menadja promo. Or I'm guessing more of a Menadja. She looks good, doesn't she? We had Quiet Storm defeat Brent Albright. Sure. We had David Flair defeat Derek Sparrow, who's a regen. We had Lex Luger and Militech confrontation. We had a Hulk Hogan interview before the sixth man of Amazing Red, Bruce Beefcake, and Hulk Hogan between Sick Boy, El Condor, and Samson. Yes, Amazing Red, Bruce Beefcake, and Hulk Hogan was a team. He only got a 42. We had Shiver defeat The Miz by DQ. Sure. We had Buff Bagwell defeat Jesus Castillo Jr. in the semi-main. Then we event Lex Luger defeated Marcus Miltech in a 52 to retain the Impact Championship. Miltech's actually getting 67 as a regen, and Luger is getting a 38. So there you go. Interesting stuff. Anyway, hopefully, I've been off and on, but hopefully, going into the fall here, I'll be a little more consistent with stuff. But that's for now. So if you enjoyed this, go ahead and leave a like, comment below what you're liking and not liking, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Or, well, honestly, mostly this at the moment. But should be there more stuff coming up soon. But that's it for now. So talk to you later, and adios. Have a good one.